68 to 70% of Americans now support gay marriage. That wasn't done because of silence. That was done because gay people spoke up. I usually find the statement, silence is violence, to be a little dramatic. But the more I hear it, the more it actually makes sense to me. It's not that you are being violent by being silent. Is that silence on issues help perpetuate systems of violence, which is true. It will take activism and speaking up to tear down systems that are actively violent towards communities. It's going to take years of activism to take away the death penalty for homosexuality from a lot of these extremely homophobic countries. And let's remember, same-sex marriage, I guess because of the Trump era, seems like this distant issue of years gone by. That was 2015 when that Supreme Court decision was made. 2015, that's only 6 years ago. That's not that long ago. 6 years, while it feels like a lot in the Trump era, is not an extremely long period of time. And so for a party to completely have its membership flip to majority support in under 6 years shows that this widespread messaging is actually helpful to LGBT people. So I find this idea that if gay people just kind of zip it and they don't really talk about their issues, and if these companies stopped, using Pride Month to kind of like push LGBTQ plus acceptance type messaging, which in their view is probably just to make money, really, that then maybe there wouldn't be a big backlash. Okay, let's do the next segment. Pride Month's ending, so we got a few last Pride topics to talk about. So, if you guys don't know, a football player, I forget his name, recently came out as the first active, openly out football player. As in, not the first gay football player ever, but the first one to be openly out while playing. Right? Carl Nassib. Okay, thank you. He came out. Apparently, he's a pretty private guy, but he wanted to come out during Pride Month and share with the world that, gay kids could also, play football. That it's okay if you're gay. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I find that to be a pretty agreeable message. The idea that if you're gay, it's okay. You can play football. And showing that representation is super important. I wish it was there for me when I was younger. Now, there was also an ad released about how football is gay, football is this, football is that, and then football is for everyone, football is accepting. It wasn't the actual idea that football is just for gays, but the idea that football is all these things. Football is for everybody. That was the message of the ad. We'll watch it real quick. It's a real simple ad. It's a little cute ad. There's not much to say about it besides, okay, whatever, right? Football's gay, lesbian, beautiful, queer. Literally says football is everything, just to be clear. And NFL probably supports the Trevor Project, which is an amazing project that helps LGBTQ youth. Simple. It says football is for everybody. Then it includes a bunch of groups that is everybody, like Americans, gay people, lesbian, queer people, like all these different groups. It's just a simple Pride Month ad, very non-confrontational, very simple, even a little milquetoast for my taste, to be completely honest. Simple. It's not shoving anyone's nose in it. Very simple. It's literally just a black background and white text. Football is a versatile switch. True. So, Ben Shapiro had a problem with this. He threw a little tantrum over this little Pride ad. I wanted to watch that.
And it does come down to things like what you see in your daily life pissing you off. Right? It does come down to things like the NFL, for example, putting out full-scale commercials saying football is gay. Okay, now let's be real about this. Football is football. It's not gay. It's not straight. Football is just football.
Okay, if he would have watched the actual ad, if he would have watched the whole ad, and it's 30 seconds, I don't know if, Ben Shapiro talks very fast. Maybe if he spent less time talking and more time reading and listening, he would have saw the actual purpose of the ad. It starts with football is gay. Then it goes to a bunch of other groups. This says football is American. Football is this, football is that. Football is for everyone. It wasn't trying to segment it as in football is the gay sport. If you go into football, you're playing the gay sport. It was basically saying that everybody should be welcome at football, whether you're gay, straight, transgender, whoever, that everybody should be welcome to football. It's a very simple message. It wasn't trying to literally broadcast the idea that football is gay and only gay. Like, football is all these things. You would think with somebody who talks so fast, he could also read fast, but apparently that's not the case.
The hell does the NFL have to say about sexual politics? When you turn on a game, typically it's because you wish to watch people play football.
The reason why the NFL is talking about this is, number one, because recently one of their players is the first ever openly out gay player while playing in the NFL, while playing football. That is history in the making. That is history for representation, which sends a message to LGBTQ plus youth that, hey, maybe this could be a sport for you. Representation does matter, and that has been shown with that when you are represented in industries on TV or in industries just period. It is more likely for people from those communities to actually participate in said industry. So, by him coming forward and being a member of the community actively playing football, that could inspire a lot of gay kids who thought maybe the sport wasn't for them due to its kind of macho aesthetic and a history of homophobia and racism, to be clear. Maybe it wasn't a sport for them before, maybe it is now. And there's also the fact that they want to advertise to a wider audience. They want to drag more people into football. Football is not really a sport I watch. I actually I like combat sports. I'm a big boxing fan in particular. I also really like wrestling. Those are my two things that I watch if I ever watch sports at all. I don't watch much TV in the first place. Football isn't my thing. I only really watch it if I'm at a family event and it's on the TV. Then I'll get some chips and dip and I'll watch the game, right? Washington football team, hoo-wah, right? Maybe what they're trying to do, and this is the most likely thing, is they're trying to advertise to a new community. That a community that hasn't traditionally been big in football, as in they haven't advertised to before. They want to see if they can get gay people to also enjoy football and say, hey, this is a welcoming environment to you. We just made history. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It'd be no different than like if somebody released a football ad in Spanish or Yiddish or whatever, trying to advertise to a certain community saying, hey, we'd love if you came and enjoyed our product. Our product, we want to make you feel welcome here as you sit back and enjoy the game. Have you seen this history? First ever openly gay player playing actively in the NFL? Wow, football is for everyone. Simple message. Don't think there's anything more than that. And of course, also, even though I don't think that's the actual reason why they got into it, they're also bringing some attention to the Trevor Project, which is a worthwhile charity, and Ben Shapiro, huge advocate of charity, I thought would have been appreciative of that. Maybe the Trevor Project's the wrong charity. Maybe it's one he doesn't like. Who knows?
Not because you wish to watch the NFL socially message about any particular social issue, whether you're talking about hands up, don't shoot, which was a lie, or whether you're talking about homosexuality in politics. And yet this is what the NFL is pushing because they feel the cultural momentum from the left. What they don't understand is sooner or later there's going to be a backlash, and it's going to be quite ugly against a lot of the same institutions that have been renormalized on behalf of radicals.
The last polling I saw showed that 55% of Republicans approve of gay marriage. That is a momentous shift. Momentous shift. There's no reclosing that. There's the best the right can hope to do when it comes to like gay rights, particularly, is hold the line or push back maybe a little when it comes to particularly gay rights. The big issue when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues for the right at the moment is trans issues, whether it be the bathroom bills or the trans healthcare bills. But they've also suffered a huge loss recently with the Supreme Court decision clearly saying that these laws on the state level to restrict trans youth's access to healthcare are unconstitutional due to sex discrimination. The momentum is shifting, in my opinion, in the correct direction. That makes Ben Shapiro and a lot of people uncomfortable. And you know what? Change is uncomfortable. People don't like change. It's something that can, get them a little, And I understand that. But this isn't like them really challenging the system in a huge major way. It's very slight. It was a simple ad with a black background and white text saying, hey, football, and the real message of it, football is for everyone. Gay, straight, transgender, Americans, everyone. That was the simple message of the ad. And then it said, hey, maybe donate to a charity if you can. Seems like it's pretty unobjectionable. If anything, it feels like Ben Shapiro is making a mountain out of a molehill and participating in outrage culture, or maybe even cancel culture when it comes to the National Football League.
Most Americans have been apathetic about these sorts of issues. The harder the left pushes, the more the backlash is going to be.
We just had this is just undoubtedly untrue. While it is true that when issues enter the public sphere, there's more backlash to that issue. Not because we've messaged so much that everybody just has completely rejected it outright. It's because that's just a backlash to people being exposed to an issue they don't know a lot about. It's the world changing and there being a reaction to that, which is understandable. But Ben Shapiro is just undoubtedly wrong here. The last polling I just saw, for the first time in American history, the majority of Republicans, when asked on the issue of gay marriage, say that gay marriage should be legal. This is the first time in American history. That was due to years and years and years and years of messaging and activism and grassroots work to get that polling data to be true. That would have been impossible without proper messaging on a wide scale. It would have been impossible to increase acceptance up to that point. If what he's saying true, why is it that every year we see support for same-sex marriage go up? And let's remember, same-sex marriage, I guess because of the Trump era, seems like this distant issue of years gone by. That was 2015 when that Supreme Court decision was made. 2015, that's only 6 years ago. That's not that long ago. 6 years, while it feels like a lot in the Trump era, is not an extremely long period of time. And so for a party to completely have its membership flip to majority support in under 6 years shows that this widespread messaging is actually helpful to LGBT people. So I find this idea that if gay people just kind of zip it and they don't really talk about their issues, and if these companies stopped, using Pride Month to kind of like push LGBTQ plus acceptance type messaging, which in their view is probably just to make money, really, that then maybe there wouldn't be a big backlash. That just isn't the case. When gay people are quiet is when they're in the most danger, because then they have no advocates, because then nobody's going to look when they get lynched, when they get killed, or when discriminatory policies are passed against them. When the advocates and allies in the community itself is silent, there is violence done against them. That's just true historically. Look at Russia, look at Chechnya, look at Iran, look at Saudi Arabia, look at any country in the world that's extremely homophobic at this point in time. Do you think the average people in this country, if they actually interacted with media that showed a positive representation of that community, that would somehow increase the violence against them? No. There would maybe be a backlash because it's getting more public attention. But in the long run, will increase how safe these communities feel and the condition these communities face in these countries. 68 to 70% of Americans now support gay marriage. That wasn't done because of silence. That was done because gay people spoke up. I usually find the statement, silence is violence, to be a little dramatic. But the more I hear it, the more it actually makes sense to me. It's not that you are being violent by being silent. Is that silence on issues help perpetuate systems of violence, which is true. It will take activism and speaking up to tear down systems that are actively violent towards communities. It's going to take years of activism to take away the death penalty for homosexuality from a lot of these extremely homophobic countries.
The greater the backlash is, the more polarized the country becomes. There is no apathetic middle anymore. You will not be allowed to be apathetic. You will not be allowed to say things like, I don't care what the NFL sexual politics is, I just want to watch football. That in and of itself will be evidence of your discriminatory nature.
You just said it. You're not in prison. You're fine.
Here's the NFL ad. It says, football is gay. Interesting. Football is lesbian. Football is beautiful. Football is queer. It's life's exciting. It's transgender. It's bisexual. Football is freedom. Football is American. Football is accepting. Football is everything. Well, it isn't. Football is everything for everyone, except if you happen not to believe in the morality of particular sexual behavior.
It didn't say that. What do you mean? It didn't say that football isn't for people who believe in the certain morality of certain sexual behavior. It literally said it was for everyone. Everyone, I don't know if you know this, also includes bigots. And let me tell you, until like a year ago, one of the major teams' name was literally a racial slur. So I don't think you could say that, oh my gosh, the NFL has become an unwelcoming place for the social conservatives. No, it hasn't. If you want to sit down and watch football, fine. You're just going to be whining about there maybe being too many gay people on the field or a rainbow logo here and there. But the football isn't going to kick you out or stop you from watching or playing. It's fine, okay? Whether we want it to be welcoming to bigots or not, it has been historically. And it's not going to be kicking you out anytime soon.
If you believe...
Unless you being in the room is actively dissuading other people from going there. For example, if you go to a game and you start yelling racial slurs or slurs towards gays, then you know what? Maybe you'll be kicked out there. But as long as you keep it to yourself, you should be able to watch a football game fine.
In traditional natural law morality with regard to sex, football is apparently not for you.
Also, just left out the ending part where it's like, hey, donate to the Trevor Project. Don't know why. I thought Ben Shapiro was a huge supporter of charity. Wonder what it is about that particular charity. Who knows?
If you believe in going to church and you actually read the Bible, apparently football is not for you.
Nobody said... Where did it say that? Where did it say that if you read the Bible and go to church, football is not for you? Of course the NFL is not going to take that position. It'd be a ridiculous position to take. It'd be an economically disastrous position for it to take. It wouldn't even make financial sense. They never said that. Ben Shapiro, are you saying that it is impossible for somebody to be accepting of gay people and people go to church at the same time? And so that a company has to choose either churchgoers or the gay community? Because that's a ridiculous proposition. They could say, we're accepting of gay people and we're accepting of people who read the Bible. They actually did with that ad because I think people who read the Bible is included under everyone.
When they say football is for everyone, they mean everyone will be forced to agree with us, and then football will be for everyone.
Man, you're taking a lot of assumptions into a very simple ad. This ad is literally, basically, 3 words. The entire ad is 3 words on a screen at a time. Football is blank, blank, blah, 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 blah. That's the entire ad, and then it says, hey, donate to the charity. That's the entire ad. He is placing a lot of words onto the NFL, which the NFL didn't say. What is this ridiculous? We're absolutely ridiculous cancel culture. I can't believe it. Necro Merlin, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. If I am gay and read the Bible, can I watch football? I am confused. You can, but you have to watch it from like under the bleachers. You have to do it in secret because it's like the Romeo and Juliet situation. You're like from 2 separate worlds and it's impossible to do. Here's a study that I'm just going to show you guys quick, by the way, for what he's talking about. Like, just don't speak up. It'll be fine. Global attitudes involving homosexuality can change rapidly. Tolerance towards lesbian and gay relationships has increased in almost every continent. More often than not, younger people have been at the forefront of this change. In this article, we explore the explanations for this cross-national phenomenon. Specifically, we test to see whether contextual factors, those that allow lesbian women and gay men to freely express themselves or to gain cultural representation in media, have driven this transformation. The results show that intercohort effects or more liberal attitudes among younger people are related to the pervasiveness of a national mass media and the presence of press freedom. The research suggests a strong link between increasing mass support for minority rights and the factors that encourage and allow minorities to express their viewpoints to others. Their findings have broad implications in that they help us understand the growing acceptance of the global acceptance around gay rights. What this study is proposing is that representation increases the quality of life of gay people, It helps them defend their rights because it helps them make the argument directly to people that we should be able to be treated like human beings. And when that argument is made directly to people, it's pretty non-objectionable on its face for most people. As long as you're not a far extremist ideologue of some sort. So that's why there's so much anger during this month around the issue of representation. That's why there was so much anger about the Blue Clues segment. Or all these segments, or this ad, which was quite simple and not objectionable. Why would there be so much anger around this particular ad that was literally just white text on a black background? Why? Is because this is one of the vital steps needed to increase the quality of life of LGBTQ plus people and to increase acceptance of LGBTQ plus people, not only in America, but in every continent in the world. This is a vital step needed for that process. And that is why there's so much anger around it. Because you know what? All of them know, whether they know it openly or subconsciously, that the more people are exposed to gay people, the more they like them and are fine with them. Here's another study showing that even a single positive movie can reduce homophobia. The study addresses the effect of narratives offering a positive depiction of gay men on the audience change in attitudes towards homosexuality. Specifically, it analyzes the relationship of character identification, intergroup contact, religiosity, and gender with homophobia reduction. 150 students of Sorbonne University filled in questionnaires measuring social demographic information in the instrument of H25 assessing homophobia. 2 months later, they watched a movie depicting gay men in a positive manner and completed a questionnaire containing the homophobia scale and the questions related to identification with the main character, intergroup contact, and religiosity. The results showed that watching movies is related to a reduction of homophobia and that character identification and intergroup contact are negatively correlated with homophobia, whereas religiosity is positively correlated with it. Results also show that there is a negative correlation between religiosity and the attitudes changed induced by the movie, and that men express higher levels of homophobia than women. This study contributes to the knowledge of the mechanisms reducing homophobia through media. The research consensus is clear. Positive representation of LGBTQ plus people helps the condition of LGBTQ plus people around the world, and it improves their standard of living because of that. And that is why, during Pride Month, for this month, when we see this representation spike more than any other time during the year, there's so much anger from many on the far fringes of society. Because they know that that is a vital key for gay, queer, trans, and all LGBTQ plus people being accepted in the United States and abroad.